Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
everybody.
Good
Hola.
morning.
Good morning.
Hola.
Good
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 morning.
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good
Buenos
morning.
dias.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yes, I am here. I'm making a pit stop, saying hello to my friends, Mr. Brian Fink, Joel Lalgy. It is Tuesday morning. You are here with us on the HR
Doesn't
Morning
even say James
Show.
Ellis. Doesn't even say James.
Oh,
No, not even close.
and James
No,
Ellis, where is
don't
he?
mind me. It's fine.
He's offline. Oh, we'll bring him in here in a little bit. We got some special guests. And if you're joining us today, we want to thank you in advance for spending some time with us this morning. We appreciate you. We are part of Purple Acorn. You know how to find out more at the purpleacornnetwork.com. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're a podcast. We're here every Tuesday. So check us out and follow along. We got a lot going on here. But before we get to that, it's time to catch up. It's time to catch up with some friends that I love, like Brian Fink and Joel. Brian Fink, what's happening, man?
I put a little syrup in the hair, stood it up today. I was like, man, I'm getting ready to rock and roll with Adam Posner. I'm excited to be here. I'm looking at James Ellis, and James Ellis, I don't want you to be left out. I do not want you to be forgotten. If you follow James Ellis, then James Ellis and I had an epic podcast the other day where we went through and we demystified using artificial intelligence to do the recruiting and sourcing thing. Yeah, it was awesome. It was epic. We used the perplexity.ai.
Wow.
And I just asked questions.
There's so many tools. And just to catch people up here, I've been going deep on that stuff. And really, it's a lesson. You teach yourself, and it's all about curiosity. And if you have the curiosity, you're going to keep pushing the needle when it comes to AI and GPT. And I use it in so many fun different ways when it comes to recruiting. Everything from breaking down job descriptions, flipping them into job ads. That's a fun little one that I do. Working on prompts where I take a client's job description and I turn it into an ad. And then how do you take that ad and turn it into a post? And then you take the results of that and then you humanize them. So that's been a fun little one. In addition to all the kind of search functionality that we do with Brian, drop us some alpha here. What's a pro tip that you've discovered using?
A pro tip is the perplexity.ai, right? So with Perplexity, I will type in something like find me HRBPs in Detroit, Michigan, who have not worked for Ford Motor Company and put their contact information into a CSV while scraping Zoom info. So it'll go behind the paywall and it'll pull that information, put that in a CSV, and you've got you've got like 30 lines of people that you can call through. And if anybody wants that search, I'm happy to share it. That's a search that I did actually working with an global auto employer in the tri-state area.
Yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with it too. I've had it export files into Google Docs, but then I quickly found I need to give the GPT access to the Google Docs, and that was a little bit of an issue that I had to work through. But then I asked ChatGPT how to do that. Like, you know something,
right?
Like,
so cool.
And then let's flip it around on the other side too. I don't know about you guys, but my talk around the dinner table with friends and family is that, like, how do you use it? We actually have talks, and it's interesting to hear how other people outside of our profession are using it in their own careers. We have a good friend. My friend Yelena was using it for a panel presentation to get her prepared for it, to get all her speaking points. And they ingested the press release, the company information, and it gave her the notes that she needed so she'd be prepared and confident. So people are really using this thing.
So Adam, a use case that I don't think people are using it for is I want to plug Meta AI for a second. So you can put this on your iPhone, your Android, you can use it in your glasses, what have you. The reality of it is that you can say, hey, Meta AI, I want you to prepare me for an interview for a project manager role. Do you have time to do that? And she'll say yes, or I say she because I think she's a she. She will do that prep for you and help you prepare for the interview and ask you like 5 questions, and we'll deep dive in areas where you are shallow in your answer. So that's Meta AI's chatbot.
That's pretty awesome. And I've been using it more and more for podcasting as well too, for podcast prep, where I have it not just ingest the guest bio, but I put in the last 5 podcasts that they've been on and some other information as well. And I ask for unique questions that were not asked during those last interviews.
Are you using Notebook for that?
I've messed around with it a little bit. I'm on GPT Pro right now, and it's giving me everything I need.
Because in Notebook LM, you can just say, go find me clips of Adam of the podcast and show me and show me common questions that Adam asks so I can be prepared for that, right? So that's just a shout out there.
It's endless. But we want to hear in the comments, guys. Chime into the comments. How are you using AI in your profession? Let's keep the conversation because it's not going anywhere. Just like Joel Algae isn't going anywhere. What's up, Joel?
What's up? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I'm here checking in with the homies. I thought I'd swing by and see what's going on, but don't worry, I'll be back full time soon enough.
Aren't you excited that James Ellis is here today?
Is he?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Do you not see him?
No, he's offline. Where is he?
Oh, he's not.
Your
Oh,
I
he
think
is
your
not.
internet's messed up, but that's all good.
James,
How you doing?
is he talking?
Yeah.
What?
His mouth is moving. Words
it's-
are coming out of it.
yeah,
It's like
it's,
speaking spell, but not.
I'm enjoying my
That
little
is so strange.
existential
I'll
crisis.
reset
that
in a
Adam
minute here. But we
Posner
got an
is.
exciting show for everyone today. We have a bunch of guests coming up. I'm going to be chatting with Ritu Mohanka. Sorry, I butchered your name. We'll fix that one in a little bit. We're going to talk about what they are launching over there, some AI tools.
Nice.
Keep the conversation going here. Who else do we have?
We got Ron Fish. Ron Fish is hanging out with the Fink. It's Fink and Fish. It's only 2 letters different.
That Fink and Fish. That's a new.
Fink and Fish. It's like everything that you wanted, right?
We're going to talk about events. We have a lot going on here. But guess what, guys? It's time for. What time is it?
The news headlines.
It's time for headlines. Let's get to it.
Headlines. What is up? Here we go. Colorado becomes the first state to recognize NICU parents' need for more paid leave. This is a good one. This is some good news.
Positivity.
Yeah, this is some real good stuff here. By the way, we just had someone jump in the chat. We can't forget that. It says Anna says it saved me so much time and anxiety. Hopefully, we're talking about AI here. It's good to see you. Well, let us know, guys. Continue to let us know in the chat how you're using AI. But guys, back to this headline. What are your thoughts here? This is obviously a great step. I don't know. As parents, you guys can all relate to this, right? Like it's tough when it's tough having kids in general, but when there's something going on early, this is a really tough situation.
Right.
So
Because
you don't want to be worrying about work,
No.
Well, coming from the situation where I was actually a NICU parent, right? Like that's where Maddie spent the first few weeks of her life. It was really great that I worked for an organization that was progressive and forward thinking, like Cabbage, which is now owned by American Express, that really did everything to support me in those efforts and so that I could be there for my daughter, so that when I could come back, I was just, that was one less thing that I had to worry about, right? That I could actually have my head where my heart was.
And that's really what it comes down to, right? At the end of the day, companies, this is the most important, crucial thing, a newborn, right? And if a company can't support you in that kind of way, is that a company you even want to work for?
No.
And I applaud the state of Colorado. They've been first in a lot of things there, and hopefully we see other states pick this up, and it starts a forward momentum of real laws, regulations that companies need to abide by for parents, right? It's important. This is critical. And I think that once this kind of rolls out more, we're going to see a shift of employees shifting, right? The great migration, so to speak. So hopefully this is the start of something a lot bigger. And we could add other things to this as well, too. Extending parental leave, elder care. If someone has a sick child or relative, just being more human. And in this day and age of political unrest and everything else going on, it's nice to see positivity.
Yes,
it's nice
political
to see good
unrest.
We like to see positivity out there, and that's the vibes we want to continue. Brian, what do you think should be right behind this as far as regulated benefits?
You talked about elder care, and I think elder care is one of the things that as we have the boomer generation that kind of migrates from the workforce and kind of squeezes on Gen X and elder millennials, that's going to become a even more pressing issue for those of us who are caught in midlife, right? How do we balance our work life with, like, I am not saying no to this, but where do we fall when we have a parent that's entered hospice, right? Like that's end of life, but we know that hospice can be that much longer.
Right.
Or what if we have a parent who's suffering from dementia or what will later be determined to be Alzheimer's? How do we make sure that we're in a protected class, that we can take the time off to get that parent to the medical attention that they need?
Absolutely. And I think that companies' hands there, it's an interesting one too, because it's going to happen more often because of the age demographic trends, where it's going to be an overload on a lot of companies where they're going to have to do something about it. They're going to have to choose policy. They're going to have to make policy, and they're going to have to make tough decisions. Joel, what do you think?
I think, I think all of these, like you said, Adam, it's about being more human, right, with employees. And I think I read something recently about how more and more employees are just feeling like numbers. Everybody's checked out. Everybody's feeling really, just not engaged in their work. And I think it's because, the fact that we got to put policies in like this is crazy. You know, that like, I think like when we got to put policies in, it means that we're not treating people like humans, and I think the work demands so much from people nowadays, and they want the best of us when it comes to work, but you just have to recognize there's other facets to people's life. And I think the more that employers can realize that, the more that they can actually engage with people's lives in a meaningful way, the more engaged people are going to get into work. Like, you just can't expect people to work 60, 80 hours a week, and then, something momentous happens in their life, and, something like this is a real challenge to go through. And then suddenly, the company expects you to put them first. It's just craziness. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think, I talk to a lot of European clients and, friends of mine in Europe, and I have this pet theory that the reason why American employer brands are so soft and so,
hi, James.
Hey, and the reason why the American employer brands are kind of like lagging behind to some extent to what the Europeans in the UK are doing is that we have to spend so much time on our career sites in our recruiting process telling people what our perks are. And these include things that every Europeans are like, really? What are you talking about?
Have that.
Yeah. And so they get to, in a Maslow's hierarchy needs kind of situation, they get to talk about more interesting things. We are still stuck in talking about, hey, we care about women. Oh, don't look at our family leave policy. Hey, we care about, these things. Just don't look at our official policies. And I think anything that pushes us forward is a good thing, but we just have to embrace the fact that we are light years away from where we should need to be, especially from a business standpoint. Companies that attract the right people, hire the right people, they're the ones that grow. So this isn't a morality feel-good situation so much as it is a business situation. By writing a policy like this, Colorado is saying we want to attract more people who want to do
more
great
business
work.
and more.
So wait, James, I got a question. You're the employer branding pro on the call, right? How do you go from meh to magnetic?
Whoa!
Like, how do you do that?
That's a bumper sticker right there.
Yeah,
should we put it on a hat?
I can't wait for the swag modeling. No, yeah, it takes a lot, but really ultimately it's about understanding who you're trying to speak to. If I'm a startup and I'm only trying to appeal to 23-year-olds, this is not useful information, right? This isn't conversations I really care about. This is not the conversation that are going to attract the right people. But for those, companies trying to hire experienced, talented, proven, long track record, other words you see on job postings that are the best people to hire, they have to understand that they're more complete people and they have desires and wants and needs beyond, want to join a rocket ship or, there's so many platitudes we throw in there. It's about focusing on your audience and saying, what do you really care about? And then feeding that more of that information. And then how do you make it more believable and real?
Ooh, that's a soundbite right there.
I got a few of those. Brian and I we've been workshopping a few things.
We riff.
And I want to double back to what we were talking about earlier. We're talking about elder care. There's a lot of new companies out there with really cool tech as a benefit to help employees set up for their own afterlife care, so their dependents don't have to deal with it, right? That's one benefit. And also for supporting, current relatives that are aging and going through that too. So we're seeing a lot of companies add these benefits. You walk around any of the floors at any of the trade shows we go to, and they're popping up and doing it the right way. And that's another value add too. If I'm looking as an employee to change, what's in the future for me? I look at total comp, right? I look at all of the benefits. I'm not a 23-year-old out of school where I didn't even give a crap about health insurance at some point. But now, as someone who's, in the back nine of life, those things are important.
Don't say that, dude. We're still in the front nine of this thing.
Well, if I'm 46, like, what does that turn into? Like, it's a halfway point, right? Like, just call it what it is. And it's important to me.
46.
What happened to positivity?
No,
What
I'm
happened
just
to
being
light?
realistic. I'm
Dude, I'm
Positive.
getting you in that ruck
Positivity.
vest we talked about earlier. I'm getting you rucking.
yeah.
Me and Joel are taking. Just real quick,
I'm
for those of
not.
you who are wondering what we're talking about, Joel and I are organizing a fun run at RecFest, and it's going to be an epic fun run.
Stop,
It's going
dude.
to be the Atom.
Stop.
It's going to be the Atom RecFest run. We're really excited about it. It's going to be about longevity and
Yeah.
playing on the front nine.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna do it. We're gonna do a 29.
I'll be cheering
mile
you
run.
from our Airbnb balcony. We'll throw waters at you guys.
I wouldn't
out
mind.
there.
I wouldn't mind doing a run. I was gonna go to a run at a conference that I was at recently, and then I just ditched because I was like, I don't want to wake up early. Like I felt bad because I'd signed up and then there was like no more space. But then I was like, I actually don't want to do this.
So
It's the
guys,
time zone. You got to factor that in.
in the comments section here, what do you guys think about this conversation here? What are some other benefits that you'd like to see that maybe aren't getting the love that they need out there? I mean, obviously parental leave is a huge one in the United States. There needs to be some standardization. Again, like going back to the conversation, other countries laugh at us. We don't take care of our most important people, which are the babies, right? We don't take care of them, and that's just said there. LinkedIn user says, so true. When I worked at a European company in HR tech, they were always shocked at the types of perks employers were boasting about. Meanwhile, they took off the entire month. Mm-hmm. Right. Europe is closed in August.
Let's not even get into insurance. There's stacks on stacks of things that they do differently that would be a radical shift in the way Americans live.
It's unbelievable there. So, guys, chime in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And we're going to keep the show going. You know what time it is? It's
what time?
For Round Up.
Round up.
Round us up, Joel.
Round. It's big. All right.
What?
Oh, man. Dude, it's
Joe
gonna
Biden's
get
going to be on the HR
wild.
Morning Show? He's going to be on the HR Morning Show?
We got him on the show. He's going to be, we're going to have our own segment for him. It's going to be
Joe Biden.
electrifying. But
Biden's
look at this.
bits.
We got a main stage speaker announcement. President Joe Biden. This is
Wow.
amazing. This is going to be electrifying. Our minds are going to be blown. Adam, you going to be front row or what?
I'm not. Unfortunately, I will not be at SHRM this year. But guys, let's speculate and let's make some side bets here. What is he going to be talking about?
I don't know, but he will be on the fun run with me and Brian.
Definitely not.
Yeah, he will be. He'll be leading the fun run. Exactly.
Sean's going to be there too.
So if I were going to show up at the SHRM conference and see President Joe Biden speak, I would hope that he would bring attention to DEI
At SHRM?
at SHRM.
It's
Exactly.
outlawed
Like,
term.
yeah, I know it's outlawed at SHRM. That's why I think that I really would like, if he is this mantle of courage,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yeah,
He's a
the
president.
one person Johnny Taylor can't shut up.
Yeah.
This is going to be I'm
guys.
excited for Sudeikis versus Biden. This is going to be a good one.
Is this a replacement for Sudeikis? That wasn't clear to me. Are they tag teaming? Is that what's happening?
They're
Sudeikis,
both not going to show up.
Or is he the backup for when Sudeikis doesn't show up again?
they needed to double down. They need to double book.
Double book.
You got it. You got to double book it. It's going to be an interesting one. But Brian, you make a very fair point here. Like, what is he going to step up and be that mantle of courage and talk about positivity and talk about diversity in a place that it should be talked about more?
Or just real quick, like, and I'm not making a joke, but alternatively, could he talk about the importance of cancer and elder care and what that journey looks like for him now that he's on that trajectory?
We shall see. Good thing that we have our
Rona will be
team.
there.
We have our team. Our Purple Acorn team will be there. Rona will be there. Evan
Rona.
White. Who else is going to be over in San Diego? Yeah, the whole squad.
Who else is going?
Ron
Ron
guys, listen.
Burgundy?
Ron Burgundy will be there. But guess what, guys? The Purple Acorn team will be there reporting back, and we will be sure to share all the information on the show the following Tuesday with all of the highlights from SHRM.
Talking about highlights.
Oh,
Like how I did that. We got the Talent Toke 2025, San Diego. This is going to be an event you don't want to miss right here. James will be there in spirit. James will be there.
Sure.
It's gonna be good though. This is hosted by Purple Acorn and Talent Tech PR, sponsored by C. Who is this? What brand is this?
Cookies.
Cookies. All right, sponsored by Cookies.
Yeah.
There we go.
I love cookies.
It seems like they're sponsoring this show right now. No, just a thought. Just putting it out.
This ain't the HR Wake and Bake show, folks.
No,
Here we
not
go.
yet.
But
Not
big
yet.
shout out to our friends over at Cookies. And listen, I have been lucky to been to a couple of Evan's joint venture Purple Acorn events, and they are fantastic. It's a great alternative. We see parts of cities that you may not see, including, back alleys and all those other fun places too. No, just kidding. In front of the Bellagio, I'm telling you, this is fun. It's a great meetup. It's different. Great group of people. Everyone who is in San Diego should check out the joint ventures event with Purple Acorn.
San Diego, 4/20, July 1st. What do we got next? Let's roll.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Oh,
There he is.
look who it is.
Hi, it's me, John Baldino.
Hello.
Are you
Hello.
attending SHRM?
Here at Humoriso, we eat ice cream.
Cool down, catch up, and connect
Sure.
with John.
Yeah, it's going to be a great
Wait, so what is
event.
this? Is this an ice cream social? I love this idea too. Any alcohol alternative events. Listen,
Why
lay
are
off
you,
the booze.
are you not
Thank you.
drinking? Are you not drinking?
I've been almost 85 days without a drink, and it feels
Nice.
great. Yeah,
Nice.
it's fantastic.
Just
But
awesome.
I have not been off ice cream.
No, you can't be off ice cream. So, all right, so scan that QR code right there, and if you want to know how to do that, you get your phone and you put it on the camera, and it will link.
Wait.
Waiting.
What's up with the cat?
Can't
What's up with
do
this
the
cat
whole
here?
time.
What's up with this cat?
I
I
know,
literally
yeah.
just noticed a cat on my head. There's a cat on my head.
The cat is weird, and now there's an acorn on me and James. It's great. It's
nuts
great.
for nuts. So everyone who's out there, definitely catch up with John. John is one
Cool
of the
down, catch
most
up,
awesome,
connect.
genuine, coolest guys out there. A wealth of information. He's always happy to share, not his ice cream, but share knowledge. And definitely scan that code and connect with John and our friends over at Humoriso.
He's okay. He's okay.
He's great. He only wants to see people win. Like,
That's true.
I saw him 2 weeks ago in New York. We had a really nice dinner with Brandon Jeffs and the gang. So
Nice.
let's get, oh, what's this?
Oh, the Riz. The Riz. This is
The
the
Wiz.
Riz.
It's the Riz.
Woohoo!
So this is gonna be a fun one. Yeah.
Recruiting Innovation Summit in San Diego. Let's go. What can you tell me about this, guys? Are you gonna be
Yeah.
there? Who's gonna be there?
I was out there last year, and when it was in Anaheim, it's a really cool, intimate event, and it was the first event that I've been at that was much smaller compared to these giant trade shows, and there was so much value in the connection. You see the same people for 3 days, and you really get to connect with them versus those, hallway pass-bys, or maybe you see somebody at a happy hour. And I think that's a real value, in addition to what they're sharing and the information there, but the intimate networking. The fact that you're with the same small group of people, your group
Can't get
dinners,
away.
group lunches.
Can't get away.
What I loved about this, one of the things I loved last year, the lunch breaks, everybody was together at the same time during the lunch break. And I made a point to switch up the tables I was sitting at and try not to sit at tables with people I know. Right, James? We were hanging out. We had a good time. And then I ditched you.
It's true.
It's true. I ditched you. But I said to you, I'm going to go sit at that table with people I don't know.
Yep. No, we had a great conversation because it enables and it engenders those shorter, smaller conversations, which is great. Otherwise, I think most people, look, and you're talking to a panel of loudmouths here. I think a lot of us have that sense of, I don't know if I want to go walk over to that person I don't know at the other side of the room and talk to them. It takes a lot of work, and if you can make it easier to network, I'm all for that. That's the best part of it.
I actually love. Let's go for it.
No, you got it.
I was just saying, I love that there's diversity as far as options of conferences, right? You have your Rec Fest, which is completely unique. You have your big shows. You have your Transform, your HR Tech. You have your Unleash. And then you have these smaller events that still pack a punch from a content and networking perspective. So you have an a la carte choice of what you're going for. You can really line up the speakers. The other thing I liked about this event last year, everybody was on the same track. Everybody was going to the same keynotes, the same presentations, the same panels, and that also fostered the conversation more because you're able to talk about it afterwards.
Yeah,
and it kept everyone was talking about the same things together, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, single track is FOMO.
Also,
Right.
think about it. There were some speakers that were at Riz that are not. I mean, they are powerhouse speakers. Like, Adam, I was texting with you, asking you what is Glenn Cathy talking about, right? Because like Glenn Cathy's slide showed up in one of my feeds, and I was like, was like, what are you talking about this, how AI is going to shift the fabric of recruiting and create all these different dimensions in that. And hats off to David Manister. Like, David has really come out of the gate swinging hard to drive community at these events and to drive community
Shout out to
online.
Dave.
Yeah, shout out to Dave, and also to Jim Stroud, who Jim had an excellent article on ERE.net's website the other day. I don't know if anybody caught it, but it was a really powerful article about rethinking the workplace and innovative strategies to bring people back for RTO. And I think that now that maybe RTO is probably coming up in the news cycle again, with Amazon encouraging people to embrace AI and to return to their offices in major hubs or in Seattle.
Interesting. This is going to be a good one. Guys, chime into the comments. What do you got on your radar for the back half of 2025? What events are you going to be going to? Well, here's another thing. Let's throw another one out there. Events that are in the back half of the year. You know, sometimes it's tough to get approvals from management, right? So you really need to make it compelling. James, what are some pro tips for folks that want to try to champion their leaders to say, hey, this isn't just a boondoggle. This is a conference worth going to?
Yeah, right. So events have that kind of feeling of, oh, it's a vacation. And if you do it right, no, it really isn't. You're really learning a lot.
And you're in a hotel for 3 days, like pretty much.
I know. Yeah, you're trapped. I was at ERA Riz last year in Anaheim with you guys. I was at a table, I was running a round table, and I asked, where do you learn stuff? Like, where are you going? Is there newsletters, is there podcasts, or things you're doing? And ultimately they said, well, we don't have time. So we save it up for 1 or 2 events a year and we go to the event. And look, I don't know a recruiter who's not working at 115, 120% capacity. When are they supposed to level up? We started this conversation talking about AI. When are they supposed to have time to figure out how to mess around with these things? I mean, every recruiter I know, you call them at 10 o'clock on a Thursday, they got one eye on Netflix and one eye on LinkedIn. They're always working. When are they going to level up?
TikTok.
That's what we do.
Exactly. The thing with conferences is that I still have questions about its noise to quality ratio, signal to noise ratio. You can always make it more information dense, but ultimately, if you have no other outlet to unplug and say, what are other companies doing? What could I be doing differently? What do I need to be exposed to that will help me level up my game? You have to do it. And any company who doesn't let you do that is really decided that you don't need to level up, which means they're putting you out to pasture. They're deciding you're not valuable in the long term, which is insane. And that's absolutely rude.
Ooh, what a hot, spicy, hot take right there. We're going to clip that one up. Alan, clip that one up in the back. Let's get that hot take out there. Guys, chime into the comments. Let us know where you're going. We'll let you know where Purple Acorn Crew is going to be. We have a lot going on. We're going to have some news about RecFest US coming up in a couple of episodes. Some exciting information. Just wait and see. Anything else on the event roundup? Think, where are you going to be next?
I took the first part of the year off so I could be with my daughter Maddie, who was going through a rough patch. Right. The next place that I'm going to be 100% for sure is going to be at RecFest in the fall. Following that, I will be going to TalentNet in Dallas, Texas. That's hosted by our friend and Craig Fisher. I would highly recommend that people put Riz on their calendar.
Yes.
That is the event that I had FOMO from, right? Like that's the event that I had FOMO from. I would encourage people to also get ready for a virtual event that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think it's actually the middle of July is going to be is Talent Acquisition Week. It's got a great lineup of individuals that are going to be talking about everything from panels to tacticals to take home. Kara does a great job with that. That was one that I was really upset to miss as well in February. But she does the virtual in the summer, so get in on that.
Get involved.
Yeah, and then I'd be remiss to say, look, I host an event every Friday. It's Brian Fink's office hours. If you've got 30 minutes, I've got 30 minutes to give you and to help you with any search or messaging that you're working on from 12:30 until 4 p.m. I don't broadcast it. It's all one-on-one.
Generous, Brian. Thank you. Awesome. James, where are we going to see you on the road?
Nothing new that Brian doesn't mention. I'm going to be at TA Week, Talent Acquisition Week, and RecFest. So those are my only kind of big tentpole events.
Sounds like we're getting the gang back together at RecFest, folks. Guys, we're going to be sharing some more on that.
RecFest run.
Yes, and more information on Riz coming up. But let's keep it moving. We got our first guest. Hello, hello.
Hi,
Hey, Ritu. Welcome to the HR Morning Show. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Adam?
Doing all right. Is the sun out in London?
You know what? I'm in Rotterdam and it's
Oh,
miserable
okay.
here.
Miserable.
It is absolutely miserable here.
That is not fun. So, welcome to the show. If you could kindly tell us who you are and what you do best.
I am Ritu. I work for Wonk. I've been here 13 months. And what I do best, I am the best mom in the world.
I love that. And when you're not momming, what is your area of expertise?
I work in HR tech space. I've spent my entire career at the intersection of HR tech, data, and equity or diversity. I heard a lot of that this morning, helping companies build smarter, fairer ways to hire and grow and develop talent. And I'm
Fantastic.
excited to be here this morning.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about Vonk for folks out there who are not familiar.
Bonk has evolved. We've been in existence for about 19 years now, essentially very much in the space of recruitment agency in terms of a recruitment marketing agency, and have really shifted our focus to a recruitment marketing automation platform.
I love it. So let's dig in here a little bit. Obviously, AI. We can't get AI out of our heads. We can't, stop talking about it. But you guys recently launched a CPA Plus model, which is AI powered model that delivers. Let's talk about it. Parse, ranking candidates. Where was that gap in the process that you were trying to solve with this innovation?
Absolutely. I'm so excited, especially today, because our Bonk LinkedIn CPA Plus is officially live. It went live this morning.
Yay!
Our press
Hand clap.
release.
Cue the sound effects.
You do that. Our press release just went out this morning, and this launch marks a huge milestone for us. So what does LinkedIn CPA Plus mean for us? It's our next generation AI powered hiring model, now live in Jazz HR and Lever ATSs. And it really flips the script on outdated pay per click recruitment, Adam. So instead of paying for traffic of ad views, you only pay for fully passed, pre screened, AI interviewed, and ranked candidates, each one matched to your criteria or based on that job description, and delivered with a detailed dossier, including structured interview transcripts and scoring. So these are the people who are qualified, interested, relevant, available, and already engaged to ready to go hiring.
So let's pause there and unpack that a little bit. Who are the typical types of clients? We don't have to mention any names here. Types of verticals, and what level of employees or candidates, I should say, are open to doing an AI first interview? And I want to talk about the resistance and feedback they've gotten through the process.
Absolutely, Adam. So if you, in terms of our customers, it's large enterprise direct customers such as Adecco, Randstad, Manpower, and many, many others, Danone, and many others.
So high volume. Are we focusing on high volume? Are these hourly or are these salaried employees, full-time salaried?
All sorts of roles. And we've done quite a few proof of concepts. So really, to answer your question, Adam, we at Adecco, recruiters were drowning in volume for frontline roles.
Right.
And both agentic AI or CPA Plus even helped automate the early screening and delivered interview ready candidates. It cut time to contact in terms of candidates by over 60%. And recruiters got back hours to focus on what they're really best at and what
The
they are
human
hired.
function of what we're supposed to do here.
Indeed. And if I give you another use case at
Please.
Software One. Sorry, you were saying something, Adam?
No, I said please. We're very interested in case studies and use cases here.
Yes, and Software One, a global technology company, faced a slightly different challenge. They had too many irrelevant applications for a highly technical role. And with agentic AI, we fine tune screening to very specific tech stack and language requirements. And the hiring managers saw a dramatic jump in shortlist, relevant, qualified, and recruiters finally had time to again engage, not sift. And I'll give you one final example at a major bank where compliance and fairness were critical. This agentic AI gave them confidence. The AI applied the same structured interview to every candidate in the same tone, with a full audit trail. It wasn't just about efficiency, it was about consistency, it was about transparency, and it was about trust.
Yeah, we don't talk enough about those industries that are regulated, government, that it has to be, strict guidelines here. And now you have a process in there where the same questions are being asked. Question that I have is, what has been the feedback from candidates going through the process, and have we seen drop-offs, or are we seeing a higher quality of candidates coming through the pipeline where it, kind of counteracts the drop-off of any candidate who doesn't want to do an AI interview?
Great question. So again, Adam, we've seen the opposite. It's not been drop-offs, it's been less dropout. So, there is some stat floating around that 90% dropout once they enter certain ATSs. We've flipped the script again here, where more than 50% engage and one third have gone through the screening. When asked the question of a candidate, do you want to be interviewed right now, or do you want to get scheduled in 24, 48 hours? 90% of the times candidates are saying, no, interview it right now because
I'm
it's
glad you brought that up.
convenient. And I don't want to wait for 3 days and then not hear back. And this is where it solves the problem, not just about going in a black hole, but just better candidate experience. Just
quicker feedback. Let's unpack that one a little bit here, because I've been having this conversation with other AI interviewing, scheduling, all those processes that could be automated to give the recruiters more time. When you could go to a candidate and say, I can interview now, or I can interview it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're giving that candidate more flexibility.
absolutely.
They could do it at their own time. You're not stuck between hours. Like, for example, I'm on the East Coast and I'm interviewing West Coast candidates. There's a certain cutoff for me where, hey, at 6 o'clock, it's family time for me, and I'm unable to give those extra 3+ hours back to my West Coast candidates. If I'm able to open up that portal and let them, and let's talk about it. The interview questions that are being answered, it's a lot like when you go to the doctor and the nurse comes in and takes your vitals. Right, you're giving a lot of that vital information, and then you're giving the recruiter. The recruiter could, correct me, keep me straight here. The recruiter could decide based on those answers whether to move that candidate forward to have a.
Indeed, absolutely. Did I
Wow.
lose you? Yeah, did I lose you? Adam, do you still have me?
I'm here. I am still here.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you.
Okay, great. So I think if I heard you right, it's about sort of the role of AI isn't about replacing humans. It's really to amplify them. At Monk, particularly, we're very, very conscious of this balance, especially as we build agentic AI that now actually engages with candidates in real conversations. And what's fascinating is that many candidates, as I said earlier, actually prefer talking to an AI in early stages. Why? Because AI doesn't judge, it doesn't rush, it doesn't forget to follow up. One candidate even said, it felt like someone was finally listening to me, even with that someone was a bot. That said, we're very, very clear about disclosure. Candidates know they're speaking with an AI, and they're given always the option to escalate to a human if needed. If
So
you don't feel comfortable, here's the recruiter's details, contact them today.
So they could do that at any point in the process.
Absolutely. Indeed.
Interesting. It's
Exactly.
it's fascinating
Right.
too. So let's talk about the next step, right? So now we're improving the process here. What are some of those early signals and feedback that you're getting from the recruiters in your companies as far as implementing the process and some of the success metrics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are the one I mentioned, Adecco, what took them over a week to fulfill, they can complete that in 20 minutes.
Wow.
And if you can imagine the world of Adecco, that is high volume, but speed is of the greatest. That's their livelihood. To be able to send ready candidate dossiers directly to their customers with that level of speed, we're suddenly talking about, they're doing better than competition. So recruiters are going, I don't have to look through 10 different versions of CVs in 10 different formats. And with now so many AI tools available to candidates, a candidate CV could look amazing on paper, but not so great in reality.
Right.
And this is where it creates a level playing field where a recruiter receives in 20 minutes a pre-screen scored ranked candidate in a beautiful dossier with everything, including the script. It's a no-brainer for the recruiter.
Ritu, are there any tools in place to see if the candidate is using AI to answer the questions during the interview? And what are your thoughts?
Oh, great. I wish I had my CTPO here. He would have had a technical response for you, but I'll give you a human response here.
We prefer human responses here. Yes.
Amazing. So exactly. So we are building a lot of tools within our agentic AI workflow to ensure that every stage of the screening process, we're able to assess and within the dossier say at what point the candidate used AI. And again, let's be clear, everybody is using AI, so they're not being scrutinized for using AI, but just to keep the real and keep authentic,
I agree.
just to be able to say these are the places where the candidate used AI, whether it's in
Well,
answering a question, whether it's writing the CV, or whatever those different reasons why AI was used.
and I think we should be real here too. I think in a general blanket statement, typically it is like the best interviewer usually gets the job, assuming that person is qualified, right? So when you're getting the vital signs, and now we're taking them to the interview stage where the rubber hits the road, and the recruiter could have a real in-depth conversation here. Now, listen, I'm going to use an analogy here. I'm not a car guy, but if I drive a Jeep, but if you threw me a keys to a Ferrari, I don't know how to drive stick shift and this high performance vehicle. How are you working with your companies who have had, these legacy platforms and processes, and now you're giving them the keys to the Ferrari?
It's a massive change management, Adam, and we are whenever we speak to a customer, the likes of the German bank or a Deco or Software One or many others, you've got to start somewhere. You've got to start small. And we've actually given this, sort of constantly say any customer who comes to us and say, okay, so let's deploy AI. Oh, let's be careful. Let's start small. Let's take a few roles. Let's show the ROI. Let's build the case. Make the recruiters feel that we're not replacing them. We're just elevating them and empowering them to do their jobs better. And suddenly it becomes a no-brainer. So it is very much about that change management and ensuring this whole transparency and explainability. That's what gets organization to
Right.
say, okay, this is the shift we need to make. And the sooner those make it, the sooner they will be ahead of everybody else in terms of competition.
So I don't want to go to the dark side here for a moment, but I think it's important to share when building out something as impactful as this, there's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be points that we stumble. Was there a hypothesis or maybe a tool that was launched that you guys thought was going to do something, but it was put into practice? Like, wait a minute, in practice, this maybe wasn't right, and we need to go workshop this a bit more.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I think it was less about it didn't work or worked well. Is when we started with the agentic AI, we were very much doing sort of the match. Here's your match for the score. And we realized very quickly that matching is a very traditional way of, sort of backward looking and patterns. And it sort of creates that same level of bias. You'd match keywords and you suddenly go, okay, he or she has customer success. So he or she can do customer success. So we moved away from that to really moving into scoring, which is much more bias free to say across 15 vectors, let's score this candidate across these 15 vectors against that job description of that particular job so that we can create a sort of a same unbiased view. And particularly if you think about it's meaningful, it's a really meaningful shift because matching often filters out qualified candidates simply because their job titles didn't align.
All the time.
For example, a bartender being overlooked for a customer service role, but scoring evaluates deep capabilities. Can they solve under pressure? Can they communicate effectively? Can they take instructions easily? Can they demonstrate resilience? And these are real transferable skills. And when assessed objectively, they lead to more inclusive outcomes. So when we were doing these proof of concepts in early days, we very much had a match score. And we moved from that match score very quickly because recruiters would go, oh, you're showing 70 out of 100. That means that candidate is good because it's 70%. No, actually. So we really missed the mark and very quickly pivoted from matching to scoring and showing scoring across those 15 vectors.
I certainly appreciate you sharing that and peeling back the curtain. Does the scoring, and I know it changes from client to client based on their needs and the roles and everything, but does the AI have built in to gauge aptitude and attitude?
We are staying away from things like cultural fit or attitude or any of those things that has room for misinterpretation or misunderstanding. So we're very much
Right.
focusing on transferables, of course, lots of soft
And hard
skills as
skills.
well, but more on skills rather than attitude and mindset, etc.
Certainly, this is a fascinating space to watch. Lots of innovation here. And I want to shift gears and talk about you and your career for a little bit. And you've worked at startups and you've scaled companies. So what's your advice to all these HR tech founders out there trying to get their first customers? What are they doing right? What are some of them doing wrong?
I would say the biggest mistake is believing tech alone will fix a broken process. I say this a lot, but it's worth repeating. Technology amplifies what already exists. If your hiring teams aren't aligned on what good looks like, or if there's a disconnect between talent acquisition and hiring managers and business leaders, no platform or technology will magically fix that.
Nothing.
And we saw this recently with with a company adopting CPA Plus or a version of it. They were so excited about automating screening, but hadn't really aligned on what qualified really meant. And our AI was doing its job, but the feedback loop was broken because stakeholders weren't on the same page.
Hmm.
And once they helped them codify their success criteria and got that into that system, the value started flowing immediately. So, another common pitfall is underinvesting in change management, as I said. Even the best tools
You need
need
the
buy in,
support.
champions, training, support, enablement.
Power
And
users.
yeah, exactly. Companies assume people will just use it, but adoption is a journey. And that journey needs to be actively managed with metrics, nudges. I really believe in social norming and support. So, my advice is always fix the process first, then add tech. And if you choose partner and if you can choose partners who will help you do both, that's where the golden rule
That's where
lies.
the magic is. And Rita, you're a strong advocate for equity and pay. How could technology support pay transparency at the same time not creating that more friction inside an organization?
Oh, pay transparency is incredibly powerful, but also delicate. When done right, it builds trust and drives accountability. But done poorly, it can create confusion or even resentment. And technology here actually plays a vital role to help companies measure and manage whether it's pay equity or opportunity equity or transparency with clarity and context. I'm sure you've heard of platforms like Syndio, for example, that allows organizations to assess pay gaps by role, location, tenure, performance, and whatnot. And crucially, particularly to act on those insights before they become a public issue. And again, the same thing as I mentioned about at Bong, we've taken the same philosophy into hiring. As I mentioned, moving from matching to scoring, it's creating that sort of level playing field and sort of almost sort of taking account of those candidates that are often otherwise overlooked. That said,
That's
data alone
fantastic.
is, yeah, and that data alone isn't enough. If a dashboard reveals a gender pay gap in engineering, it only matters if leadership is willing to act. So transparency must be paired with education, accountability, and cultural readiness.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. It all starts at the top with any organization having leadership buy-in, championing the process, and it all trickles down. So we're going to leave with some positivity here. What are you looking forward to most this summer?
Definitely taking a holiday. I turn the big 50, so
No
definitely taking some
way.
time off. But other than that, as I mentioned, we've just rolled out CPA Plus with a LinkedIn product and Jazz and Lever, and there are quite a few other launches coming out soon. So the linked, so of course, if I've started following you, you'll see a lot of my LinkedIn posts. But so I hope you don't hate me for it. There'll be loads of announcements about
No, we need
LinkedIn.
more information,
So
more good
very
stuff.
excited.
Well, we
Very, very.
appreciate you and the team and everything that you're building there. This is exciting. Where could folks find you? Where could they connect? Where could they learn more?
Best place to find me is on LinkedIn.
And everyone check out Vank. Ritu, it's been a pleasure. I hope that we get to meet in person at one of these conferences. Head over to our side of the pond where it's really hot. I'm in New York. It's like peak summer right now. It's like 98 degrees. And
I
it's
can't wait
summertime.
because I'm there next Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that heat.
Well, it's going to break by then, so you're going to be lucky there. Ritu, thank you so much for joining us on the HR Morning Show. Pleasure to meet you, and have a great day and enjoy your summer.
Thank you, Adam. See you soon. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Got to hit that mute button, folks. Hey, everybody. I'm here to talk about my friend ERIN, who is not just a person and is not just a shoe store. It's true. I know you might think that. I can see why. But it actually stands for, and I did not know this until I did the research, Employee Referral Invitation Network. So if you want to unlock the hiring potential that exists inside your own organization, ERIN helps you do it. One-click referrals, smart recommendations, automated bonus tracking, integrating with like everything, and it's engaging. It's a great platform. So look, if you want to get your own red shoes, check out the URL. Thanks for dropping that. That's perfect timing. I have a pair. I do wear them to conferences. I didn't even have to sign a contract, which I think makes no sense. I should have had to sign a contract. Don't you think I should have? But they're just nice that way. So there you go. So that should indicate what kind of company ERIN is. So if you're ready to transform your hiring strategy in like 60 seconds, think referrals. It's the place where you're going to get your best applicants, your most hireable applicants, and you can do it for way less than you're going to spend on, I don't know, like ads and stuff. So I'm just saying, check out ERIN over at erinapp.com.
Oh my goodness. It's like looking into a mirror of awesomeness.
Oh yeah, it is really weird. Like we've got the gray hair of wisdom. It's a little spiky, so everybody knows we're still dangerous. I mean, it's awesome.
This is
Rock and roll.
fantastic. Ron, the first time meeting, really excited to have a conversation. Want to shout out the podcast because we're both wearing the shirt right now. I don't know if everybody can see that Ron and I are wearing the same shirt, but we are big fans of what Adam puts together on the podcast, and it's great that we could show up for him today. Ron, thanks for showing up. Really excited to kind of learn a little bit more about you and to get into a bigger conversation around AI to continue the dialogue that we started this morning. Ron, real quick as we jump in, maybe it would make sense if you gave everybody a 2-minute snapshot about who you are and what you bring to the fight.
Sure. Again, Ron Fish. I'm a global talent acquisition leader. I've spent a career helping companies build and scale smarter, building high performing recruiting teams and, helping drive talent acquisition, recruitment marketing, talent brand globally.
All right, so you're the guy that we need to talk to when the robots come to take over recruiting, right?
I thought they were here.
So actually, maybe that's the first place that we want to jump into, continuing that big theme that we've had today about AI and recruiting. What do you think is working and what do you think isn't working in recruiting today as far as the AI hype bubble is concerned?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hype, right? I think that the AI platform companies are out there kind of overselling what AI can do. I think we're inside the talent acquisition and recruiting programs. If we're talking about that space, we're really seeing where AI can benefit us. And it's really more of the do my laundry, clean my apartment kind of stuff, which is the high volume, low value tasks. Adds a huge advantage, right? It frees up recruiters to be talent advisors and it helps us drive a more strategic function, have more time for meaningful conversations. So I think that's really where AI is adding value. There are some companies out there that are beginning to work together and string this thing where you start with the intake call with the hiring manager, it's transcribed by AI, converts it into a job description, pushes it out into some of these great search technologies now, and delivering candidates within like 15 minutes from the intake call that the recruiter can start screening, reviewing, et cetera, or your AI bot can start screening. So all of those high volume, low value tasks are starting to get automated. So it is important for us to evolve as recruiters, but I think that's where it's adding the most value. I don't think we're in danger of a CEO having a staff of 1,000 bots and no more humans anytime soon.
There's something I want to double click on is that you talked about insight, influence, and the impact, maybe being the three kind of common currencies of a modern talent advisor. How do you think that AI is really helping to help us go from reactive to proactive in talent planning?
I think a lot of it is just really providing more data and providing the bandwidth to be able to do that. In this era, nobody is spending a lot more money in HR and talent acquisition, right? So we're trying to do more and more with less, which makes us less strategic, more transactional, more ghosted candidates, this huge volume of candidates coming in. So I think AI, when it can be, you can begin to automate all of that high volume stuff, even sourcing, right? I mean, recruiters lose an incredible amount of time to the sourcing process, just looking for candidates, even though there are all these inbound candidates. So it might just be reviewing the 300, 400, 500 candidates that applied. So I think when we take that time and we can begin to automate it, it really enables everybody to be more strategic. So in my recruiting organizations, I'm always looking to build independent thinkers that can drive processes, make decisions, be empowered to make decisions. And that really enables them to do that. So there aren't any excuses to say, well, I'm overburdened with so many candidates, when we can begin to automate it. And that's where I think we have that strategic advantage, where we can begin to really operate as business advisors, get that seat at the table, have those conversations we need to be having and not avoiding them because I don't have time to.
Seat at the table. I can't tell you how many times I think that's come up since Johnny Campbell wrote an article about last week or so, and a video from the team at Social Talent, right? And I also know that the talent advisor that you're speaking of is really something that John that John at Recruiting Toolbox has also spoken about quite a bit. I'm curious though, what data are you using to influence hiring managers? And how much of it is AI powered?
So, I mean, the day I like to, I'm a promoter of transparent reporting.
Love that.
I firmly believe that, good, bad, or indifferent, as a talent acquisition organization, we should be providing the data, and not just trying to provide the little tidbits that spin things in the right way. Transparent reporting, doing surveys, asking hiring managers, how are we doing? Asking candidates how we're doing, to get a true measure of what we're doing. So, that the data that we're pulling in, I think AI is beginning to play a role there. We've got some great ATS systems out there that are starting to have more of the out of the box reporting that really provides great data. I'm a big fan of pulling data out of the ATS into BI, like a Power BI, Microsoft platform or related. Believe that you can get to a place where you've got it on your mobile phone. Hiring managers can be traveling at the airport, looking at their data. But I think if you start with data, we're providing it as an open book. Here's where we're at. We can talk about the real business problems that we have. Is it a recruiting problem? Or is it really that we're not getting candidates through the process? We're lacking the throughput that we need. Are we evaluating candidates properly? Are we coaching and training hiring managers on proper interviewing techniques, reduce bias, all the related things? I mean, there's so much to unpack there. We could talk for an hour, I'm sure. But I believe in transparent reporting. AI is beginning to make an impact to make it easier to find those data insights that can really show those trends where we can make an impact.
Ron, I want to. You talked about transparency, and you also talked about inclusion and equity. I hear this all the time. There'll be a post about how AI is biased, or maybe it's not biased, or maybe it is biased. What's the mustard on this? What's going on?
I think AI has the potential to not be biased, but let's be honest, humans have built AI. Humans are building the algorithms, so there is bias built in. There are technologies that have advanced for people with visual impairments, blind, low vision, that have bias that's documented, like glaring bias that's come out. Clearly, our hiring processes, if they have bias, we now automate them. I think your previous guest, Ritu, was speaking how technology just amplifies existing problems. So clearly, if there's bias, even if it's unintentional, it's going to just amplify it when you then integrate AI. There are going to be elements. So I think we have to be thoughtful about the way that we implement AI, the way we integrate these technologies. And if we are, we can truly create a fairly bias-free process with a lot of equity built in.
I love that. And one of the things that Ritu and Posner were talking about is they talked about like resume screening tools, and you're talking about how they may unfairly penalize disability disclosures. And I really think you're going the distance to make sure that disability inclusion is seen as a business advantage. Is that the takeaway?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does a lot to build culture. I've never seen anything accelerate inclusion like a focus on accessibility at a company. I've got lots of stories about that, but I've really seen it accelerate inclusion in a massive way, and belonging as well. But without a doubt, there's a business advantage there. Those inclusive companies, the leaders in disability inclusion typically outperform their competitors by 25%. And that comes from an Accenture study. So there are lots of advantages, and really just building that culture that has actions behind the words. We all see every company out there that grandstands for the latest monthly celebration. We support this, we support that, but are they actually doing anything about it? So
365. It's got to be a 365 push. It does. You kind of lit a fire under me, because like I wonder how many companies have just we're in Pride Month, right? And there are companies that celebrate Pride in June, but they don't celebrate individualism or representation or bringing your authentic self to work the other 11 months out of the year. I could grandstand on that, but I don't want to. I don't want to go there quite yet. I am curious though. How do you think AI has identified structural gaps across hiring or promotions or even pay equity and maybe even retention?
how it's identified gaps, you're saying?
Yeah,
Like
like from a
uncovered
pay
gaps?
equity standpoint. Yeah.
I don't know if I have had an experience where AI has actually identified specific gaps, but I know that AI is bringing a lot more data to the table. So I know even for recruiters, there's a lot more information available as they're discussing those topics. But from that standpoint, I think AI is a big advantage just because of the amount of data that can be considered in all of these situations and really help us look at building equity into hiring programs.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. And I love the fact that you're saying that AI can be an instrument of allyship. I think that's great. As we kind of round out here, I want to run. We've talked a lot about elevating the function to the talent advisory, building credibility with business leaders. If there was one thing that I could do today to build credibility with my business leaders, what around using AI, what would you say, Brian? Go do this thing. What would you tell me to do?
Yeah, I would say find ways to, again, automate those high volume tasks so recruiters are freed up. Because I think recruiters naturally, most of us are pretty smart. I mean, what we do, we deal with people all the time. We're having conversations. You have to think on your feet. But when you don't have the time to do that, we tend to take shortcuts. A lot of that is in our documentation, our data, and then in having those more meaningful conversations. So I think as we do automate that, recruiters are naturally going to have those more meaningful conversations. And then as global talent acquisition leaders, we can really promote that approach. And then there's no more excuses. We can really have those conversations and really introducing information and introducing data. The more data we introduce, the more credible it is. And the more we're going to get hiring managers to listen to us and feel like we're a true business partner. If I'm just transactional, and I'm just the resource that sort of shotguns candidates over to you and I'm throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks, that's great. I'm performing that service, but I'm not adding a lot of value. They can just get that from, pointing an external posting on LinkedIn directly at the hiring manager and get a bunch of candidates, right? So we want to add value, build credibility, provide information that we have from the market in order to elevate the function and help really drive that as a talent advisor.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, the talent advisor is not just saying, I'm going to post and pray. You need a back end dev. Sure, what's the stack? Instead, they're saying, what's the role? Why now? What happens if we don't hire for it? They're really going deep in the paint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I'm expecting from, the recruiter, I think we evolved from headhunter to recruiter to talent acquisition, right? Or talent advisor. And I
Yeah.
think those individuals are having those conversations, and it's not always good news. It's not always like, hey, great news, we got a great candidate. Sometimes it's the skill set you're looking for. I get it that it's really convenient for you, but it doesn't exist in the market. So having those kinds of conversations, that boil down to evaluating like time, cost, quality. I like to say to hiring managers who are really unreasonable, hey, if you have unlimited time and an unlimited budget, we'll find you anybody. We don't have either one of those. So let's evaluate what's the most important thing and start to be flexible here so we can drive this to a conclusion. Otherwise, a role will be open for 6 months and some executive leader later will be raining down on recruiting's head to say, why isn't this position filled yet? And, those are the conversations we need to have to make better hiring decisions and have better informed hiring stakeholders.
Ron, you talk about that time to fill. I know I said I was only going to ask you one more question, but like recruiters, by and large, they don't. They're the group that love metrics, and they're the group that hate metrics. If you had to say this is the most important metric, and I'm putting a flag in the ground about this, what is it? Because you talked about time to fill just a second ago, and we know how that impacts the business.
Yeah, in my opinion on time to fill, I'll just say this first is that, recruiting is a team sport. Recruiters are not the only ones accountable for time to fill. It's really the whole process. And that's what I've always shared with hiring managers is while this time to fill is at 90 days and we have a screaming sense of urgency to get it filled, it's not just because the recruiter's been slow. They've expedited it every step and we're waiting on you. So it is a team sport, so to speak. One of the biggest recruiting metrics or KPIs that I like to focus on is recruiter efficiency. And that can be there can be several different data points under that, but it has something to do at most companies with how many candidates am I submitting for, to get an interview? How many interviews is my hiring manager doing to get a hire? So looking at that chain, I think is really important to evaluate the value that we're adding as recruiters to understand, are we driving the right behaviors, or are recruiters just throwing stuff against the wall to see if it sticks and putting all the burden on the hiring managers? And if we're not adding that value, let's look at that and let's talk about how to be more effective and more efficient. So recruiter efficiency, I think, is one of the most important data points from a production perspective that I look at.
Okay, I like that, and there are recruiters that are listening that are going through the interview process where they've been out of work for a while, right? Is there any advice that you would give to them about how they can stay up on trends in AI so that they can, come to the battle, come to the fight just as good as maybe somebody who has currently or is currently employed?
Yeah, man, it's so hard. And at the end of the day, you can get really confused through a long job search. And I've been there myself where like after a while, you're trying to say too much. And I think your role in an interview is if your resume speaks for itself, you come in and there's a sense that you're probably qualified for the job. One of your key things you need to do in that interview is leave the interview making sure that the individual that interviewed you likes you. Because at the end of the day, if you're well liked, they're going to give you a lot of benefit of the doubt or assume that your resume is truly representative of your skills. Now, you do have to demonstrate you've got the right skills, but don't be so focused on skills that you forget about the likability factor. So the more tense we get, the longer the job search gets, the more desperate we seem, and the more we're trying to cram everything in. You have to learn to pause, go back to the interviewer, let them speak. Find out what they like and try to establish rapport, but be likable and demonstrate your capabilities and you'll get there. Just lots of so much competition right now out there.
Agreed. Ron, I just want to thank you so much. I think that you have been a blessing of information to everybody who's tuned in today and everybody who's gonna jam with us later. Ron, is there anything I can do for you, man, to help you take this hair game to the next level? Anything you want to leave the audience with that we didn't leave out on the table already?
Well, I'm currently working with the Crew Whip. I was an LA Looks gel guy, like for more years than I'll admit, but now I'm
Okay.
into the Crew Whip. So, check it out. My daughter's a hairstylist and recommended it, and it's something new and different. So I'm a little more trendy in my kids' eyes. So I'm pretty proud of that.
All right. Well, I will think about that because I've got to impress a 9-year-old. Ron, thanks for joining us on the morning show. It was awesome to meet you. Let's rock on.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. It was great to meet you, and podcast everybody. Tune in.
Good morning, beautiful HR people. On today's HR Weather, perfect segue from today's headline. Let's talk about employee benefits. So the question is, why are we still doing one size fits all when it comes to employee benefits? I think we all realize that different generations have completely different needs. Anyone that has nieces, nephews, or parents, like we all want different things. But why are we just one size for all our benefits? I want to go through the current generations and figure out what the best benefits are. So if we start off with Gen Z, Gen Z is just hitting the workforce probably for the last 5 years. And no, they don't want ping pong tables, which I'm pretty upset about it because I love ping pong, but I guess it was a millennial thing. They're asking for mental health support. They want flexible hours because they want to do things, and they're not having kids as early as the other generation. So they want things like pet insurance. That's their kids. They also have massive student loans. So instead of 401k matching, they want help with that. And of course, we all know this, they want mental health days. Jumping into the millennials, I remember when millennials were like everything we talked about, and now they are the core of our workforce. They've seen it all. They're starting to have kids, and they want actual childcare that works. And for all of us that have young kids, we know how expensive and challenging getting proper childcare is. They also want hybrid work so they can actually do a ton of things and take care of their kids and do fun things on the side. And they're looking for some fertility benefits because they do want to have kids. If we jump into Gen X, which is my favorite generation, and I'm a little bit biased, but I would say by far the best generation. So Gen X is stuck between raising teens and helping their aging parents. And being in those shoes, I know exactly what that means. And it is extremely stressful, extremely challenging. So we want benefits that take pressures off both ends. We want 401k matching because we're getting up there and we do want to retire at one particular point. We want assistance with elder care. We want sabbaticals in case something happens with our parents and we can go take care of them. And we need really solid life insurance. And boomers, growing up in the 80s, the boomers was the generation we all talked about. And yes, they are still working, but they're thinking about things a little bit differently. They're thinking about their legacy. They're thinking about their quality of life. They want stability and they want benefits that support them winding down and actually enjoying the back nine of their lives. They don't want to burn out. So what's important for them is they care about healthcare. They want to phase retirement if possible. They also want to mentor the young generation and they want to figure out a way how they can do that at work and also outside of work. So what's our final forecast? One size fits all benefits are done. That storm has passed. So we need to tailor our perks by generation or we're going to risk losing them. I think we know it's all important. It's really important right now that we figure out how we tailor to each generation so they actually can really work at a pace that makes sense for them and they're happy. They're happy working for that particular employer. So if you don't do it, you're going to lose your top talent. That's the HR Weather. Let's get back to the panel. So perfect segue to what we talked about, right? Like at the start in headlines. But some of the things.
You're still not on the show.
You're not on the show. We can't hear you, Adam. You're not on the.
It's a ghost.
Fine,
Yeah.
bye.
There
You are.
There he is.
There's the
I was just gonna say what I missed most in the last few weeks on hiatus is just having a seat in the airplane that you land every single time. You bring it home. Thank you.
Bring it home. So I'm curious. One of the things that I hear a lot about from Gen Z is pet insurance. And when I talk about that with employers, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Pet insurance? That seems ridiculous to them. But is it? Like, should we be tailoring our benefits to different generations
already
based
do.
on their need? How hard is it?
We already do.
You know, I know this very forward-thinking director of compensation benefits an analysis for this really forward-thinking organization in Atlanta, Georgia. I get to call this person my wife, right? And so she came to me and she said, "Yeah, we want to give bereavement leave if you lose your pet." And
Yeah.
at first I was like, "This is the dumbest thing I have ever heard of." But Allie, kudos to you and your team. You did the research. You showed the impact that it makes in the organization, and how people view their pets as their first child when they are a young adult, or how they view them as their child when they're an empty nester. Shout out to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, agreed. And like I've had pets recently. I had 3 pets. They all passed away within a year. That was extremely hard. And I'll tell you, I couldn't focus as much as work as I used to. So that's a perfect example of the challenges that we're dealing with. I, Boomers don't understand as well, and even Gen X, as far as the massive student loans that employees have, especially Gen Z. And I think that's a key too. Like we got to look at like is I we all talk about that we definitely should be investing really early on, but before you can invest, you got to get rid of this debt. So instead of 401k matching, what do you guys think about actual student loan repayments? I think that's like, especially if you're trying to attract that talent, you got to do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, your benefits reflect the audience you're trying to serve. There is no off the shelf benefits. I know we act like everybody kind of has the same, but anybody who's filed their insurance claim in the last 20,000 years understands that every company is a little different. They offer different levels of funding. They offer different levels of coverage, and that's just insurance. Way back when I was a wee digital strategist for a state government who will remain nameless, definitely not Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin. I remember
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yes, exactly. I should have taken a left at Albuquerque. I remember joining in my 20s, and the HR person gave a litany of all the benefits. And I swear, if I could put a little sticker on each one that might as well have said, "This will be useful when you die."
Yep.
And that was the way that government was structured. It assumed you join when you're 20, you work it for 30 years, and you're done. And all its benefits were geared towards longevity of tenure. Okay. And for a state government organization, that made perfect sense. Does it make sense anywhere else? Probably not.
No.
We can't take a one-size-fits-all approach. Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to engage? How do you want them to work? What do you want them to care about? What are they engaging with? How do you support them? All those are core questions when it comes to comp and ben.
Yeah. Are we seeing companies trying to adjust, or is still one size fits all, right? Like I know for organizations that I've worked for, it still is exactly the same that it was when I started my career. Like, how do we shift? Like, there is a lot of innovation in that particular space with benefits provider that offer a lot of different benefits. But what I've seen is they're smaller, right? And if you look at the large organizations, they go with the standard larger benefits provider that don't offer a lot of flexibility because no one is demanding it. I think it's time we start demanding it as employers.
Demand it.
Demand it.
But can we demand it right now, considering it's a employer market? I'm just wondering.
We kicked off Adam again. I don't think anyone can hear him. That's good. That's okay. We miss Adam. We'll see Adam more. Bye for now.
Bye, Adam. Oh, okay. My bad. I'm sorry, dude.
All right. Well, on that note, I think there's a lot going on in the benefit space. I'm glad we spent a lot of time at the start of the show and at the end of the show talking about benefits in the workforce, because I know there's a lot of HR people that are listening and watching this, and you got to go to your employer and start demanding better on that note. Aside from that, I think we'll take off. That Adam is gone now. For everyone, you missed out at the start of the show. I am going to be at SHRM. So if you are going to be at SHRM, please reach out to me. Would love to meet you. Would love to spend some time. I will not be at Talent Toke. No, probably.
Serge, will you have an ice cream cone with John Baldino for me?
I will have an ice cream cone with John Baldino. That seems like the highlight of
Will you shave off your hair for John Baldino?
No, I won't.
What?
That's a very sensitive topic you're talking there, Joel. At mid 40s, yeah, it's definitely
Ah,
receding in some ways. So yeah, no,
You don't
definitely
have to
not
accept
shaving
that.
until I have to.
You don't have to accept that from a man wearing a ball cap. It's just safe.
Yeah,
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 dude.
exactly.
Have you seen any of my content? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Joel,
yeah.
have we seen any of your content? Joel, tell us, where can we see you next?
You could find me online. I live online. It's awesome. Shut up, Adam. Shut up, Adam.
perfect,
Keep
guys.
it down.
Well, that's the HR weather. I'm gonna go back. You guys close it down.
Let's close it down.
Thanks, Serge.
Sergio.
Whoop, whoop.
At Humoriso, we're not just another HR consultancy. We're a team of dedicated experts wanting to bring your business forward. Our Humoriso Technology Solutions, HTS, are a different kind of HR tech. Give real-time insights without overwhelming managers with too much data. So whether you're a growing startup, an established company, our human resources outsource support, payroll management are all there to help drive your business forward. So check us out and see what Humoriso could do for you today.
It never gets old. That commercial
Never gets old.
It's
Never
a
get
Forrest
it all.
Gumpian situation. He's walking across all of America.
All of Vegas, actually. It's actually all of the Wynn Hotel. Let's be real about that. Well, that was a great show. It was great to come back and hang with the guys. I'll be making another appearance in July. Be back in August and full time back in the fall here.
Let's
Appreciate
go.
everybody here. Everyone watching at home, we certainly appreciate you joining us today. Final thoughts here. James Ellis, what are you excited for this summer? What do you got going on?
I got a lot of research projects going on. I think one of the things
Boring.
Oh, no, hold on. We started the conversation around AI. We need to, we'll come back to it. I think the thing that we don't do enough of when it comes to AI is better research and collecting data and diving deeper than one person can kind of
Seems like we have the tools to use, though, for the research. But we're not
truly. And we're just not using them. Where we're looking at AI going, okay, write a better job posting, which is really key or code for saying, write me a boring job posting that sounds like everybody else's job posting. There's so much that can be done with it. So yeah, that's really where my head is going to be, is research and how do we use AI to make ourselves better.
Awesome. Finkmeister.
Wow, this is such a loaded question, Adam. Because
It's more of a softball closing question. This is what I do here.
Okay, all right. So it's the party
choose
people.
your own adventure. Say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, party people. I'm Fink, and we're gonna be having a great summer. We're gonna be working on some pretty unique AI focused roles. So if you've got a friend or a colleague that likes to do things in the machine learning arena, send them my way. I'd love to be a resource for them and help them as they go in their next step. And one other thing I mentioned when talking to Mr. Fish, I said, "Hey, what advice would you give to recruiters that are looking for their next gig?" If you're a recruiter and you're looking for your next gig and you want somebody to do that interview prep with you, hit me up on LinkedIn, find me on Friday afternoon. We'll make some time. We'll get together. I want to help you go from better to best.
That is incredibly generous. That's who you are. Brian, I appreciate you as a friend and a contemporary in the space. Always
Legend.
much love to my homie over in Atlanta. And finish up strong, Joel. Joel, talk to us a little bit about the summer content series for TikTok, right? We have the fall, you're on the tractor, you're mowing the lawn, you're doing things. Like, what are you cooking up? A little alpha here. What are you cooking up in the TikTok lab for the summer?
Not much, my man. Just grinding it out. Whatever the news is, I'm covering it. Whatever advice the audience is looking for, I'm bringing it, and that's how we do it.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
That's how we do it,
folks.
man. Just make
Everybody,
make a machine.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
machine.
Guys, if you are watching this show and not following, hit that follow button. Follow Purple Acorn. Thank our friends over at ERIN for their continued support. If you want more, head over to purpleacornnetwork.com. We're a podcast. We're on Spotify, wherever you find us. That's going to do it.
And if you want Adam Posner's internet connection, what's the provider there?
Yeah, we're gonna work on that one because I thought it was fine for the most part. I didn't bail off. I was fine. I was talking. I saw myself over here. We're going to work on that for next time. Maybe it was a little dusty. Maybe I got to dust off the internet connection for next time. But everyone out there, thank you so much for spending your mornings with us. This is the HR Morning Show. Remember to be good to yourself, be better to others, and we will catch you next week. Take care, everybody.
Later.